What is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. Personal pronouns and possessive pronouns replace people and objects in a sentence. Although there are lots of different types of pronoun, today we are only going to be looking at personal pronouns. Otherwise the video would be really long. Let's have a look at the personal pronouns that are available to us in English. In the table you can see that there are different types of personal pronoun depending on how they're being used in a sentence. Let's look first at I and me as our example and see what happens when we use them in a sentence. I like your shoes. I like your shoes. Not me like your shoes. Let's have a look at how we can correctly use me in a sentence though. Amy was waiting for me. Amy was waiting for me. Not Amy was waiting for I. Now let's take a look at she, her and he, him pronouns. These are gendered pronouns. We use she, her pronouns to refer to somebody who identifies as female. We use he, him pronouns to refer to somebody who identifies as male. When we're not sure if the person we are talking to or about identifies as male or female, we can use the they, them pronouns. The they, them pronouns are excellent for pretty much every situation, so if you're not sure which pronoun to use, you can use they or them. Let's return to our gendered pronouns and take a look at some of them in action. We're going to start with he, him. This is Alex. Alex is my friend. This is Alex. Alex is my friend. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that pronouns can be used to avoid repetition. Here is a perfect example of that. I repeated Alex twice in both sentences. Let's have a look what happens in the second sentence when I remove Alex and use a pronoun instead. This is Alex. He is my friend. This is Alex. He is my friend. We use the pronoun he to help us avoid repetition. However, we can only use pronouns when we feel certain that our listener is going to know who or what we are talking about. If I just said, he is my friend, the second part of the sentence, without explaining or talking to my listener first about Alex, my listener won't necessarily know who I am talking about. Here, I would like to mention that it is really important to get gendered pronouns correct. It is considered impolite if you were to misgender somebody, particularly if they've told you what their pronouns are. When we were in Taiwan, we did hear quite a little bit of confusion around the he, him, she, her pronouns. People mistaking he and her and using the opposite gendered pronoun. This is really important to get right. If somebody outwardly identifies as female, it is important to use the she, her pronouns. Equally, with somebody who outwardly identifies as male, we use the he, him pronouns. But please don't worry about this if you're not sure. As I said before, we can use the they, them pronouns, and they work for almost every situation. Now let's move on and look at the pronoun you. You can be used for both the subject and the object. We can use you to talk about an individual, or we can use you to talk about people in general. I could say, you should practice English to improve. You should practice English to improve. Here in this example, I could be talking to you, or I could be talking to a full room of people. It works for either individuals or for people in general. Let's have a look at the they, them pronouns. As I said before, these are incredibly useful pronouns to have at your disposal, and useful to know just in case you're not sure which ones to use. The they, them pronouns can refer to individuals, they can refer to a group, or they can even refer to organisations, businesses or institutions. Let's take a look at an example sentence. They don't allow parking on this street. They don't allow parking on this street. Here, I'm not referring to an individual. I'm not referring to a group of people. I'm referring to a government or local council. However, I could also use the they/them pronouns in a sentence like this. They really enjoyed the party. They really enjoyed the party. Here, I could be referring to an individual or a group of people that went to the party. The way that we know which one is being used is from context. As I said before, in our example with Alex, the listener needs to know who we are talking about, and that would be explained in the sentences that came before. With the example of the parking, it's most likely to be a government or local council, because it's rarely an individual who is in charge of that, but again, it would be inferred from context. The pronoun it can be used when we're referring to ourselves, when we're talking about other people, when we're talking about objects. We can even use it when we're talking about animals. However, this one comes with an extreme word of caution. When we're talking about ourselves, but specifically other people, it is very important that we use it correctly. And I have some very specific guidance when it comes to using it when we're talking about other people. But let's have a look at some examples. When I'm using it to talk about myself, I would use it when I know the person either doesn't know who I am, but more specifically can't see me. So for example, on the telephone, I might pick up the phone and say, "Hello, it's Laura." Hello, it's Laura. I'm using the it pronoun to refer to myself, and here I do that because I know the listener can't see me and perhaps doesn't know who I am. Here I can also use the it pronoun when talking about other people. I may ask the question, "Who is it?" Who is it? To make it more polite, I may even want to add on please at the end. Who is it, please? Because using it to refer to another person is very rude. However, in this instance, it is okay to use because I don't know or I can't see the other person. Let's have a look at animals. It is perfectly acceptable to use the it pronoun when referring to animals. However, this rule changes somewhat when we think about people's pets. If we know the animal, or the animal is someone's pet, what we do in English is we identify a gender to that animal. So we would say he, him, she, her, or we can even use they, them. They, them is appropriate. But what is most likely to happen is we would say he, him, she, her for someone's pets. Hopefully this video was a useful start or helpful refresh of the basics of English personal pronouns. It can be tricky, as with any grammar in any language, so don't worry if this is new to you or you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed by everything I've said. Please take the time to go back and re-watch if you feel that that would be helpful. Although it might be tricky, I really hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions about this learning, do pop a comment in the comment section and we'll do our best to get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos from us, click the subscribe button. Until next time, bye-bye!